Now serving your entree of sports and entertainment, the triple shot of Marcus returns. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Fish and Grits for the Culture, April 24th, 2018. How's it going for you fellas?
It's holiday season, son. Everybody's winning right now. I'm about to say Infinity War coming out. What else? J. Cole just dropped
It's
a
cold
classic on
out.
us.
Man, everything going
The
to
weather's looking nice
the draft
and,
this weekend. Like everything is on cloud nine, man. My mom's going
Christmas
on
in April.
vacation. She about to go on the Carnival cruise. Girl
Who you
going
say,
to
your mom?
Jamaica. Yeah, like everybody doing good. Wilson going to Dallas. Everybody leaving. Everybody leaving.
Everybody
Having a
leaving.
good time. I'm feeling
I ain't going nowhere.
it. You took flight on 420, so you good. You took flight.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Fly high.
How's it going for you though, Will?
The draft is upon us and nothing else matters.
Man, hey,
Ooh.
Infinity War 2. Don't say nothing else
Don't
matters.
say
You
nothing.
can't say nothing else
Let
matters.
me let me explain it to you like this. As a lifelong diehard, live it, breathe it, ride or die with it football fan, I will be more than happy to go in and take a 3 hour break to watch Infinity War. But there is nothing more important to football fans right now
Unless
than the NFL
unless you
draft.
don't have a first round pick, then it,
Oh, it
Unless
don't
you're a
even
Texans
matter
fan.
then. It don't even matter then because I guarantee you, out of the estimated 270,000 plus that are about to descend on Dallas this weekend, there will be plenty of folks that don't have picks in the first round that will be partying out there with us during the first
Oh well, you
round.
can you if you cut my skin, I bleed comic books and music, and I'm on cloud nine right now.
yeah. Well, we all feeling good. We all feeling good these days, especially my man J
Oh
Cole
yeah.
dropping that classic. You know what I'm saying? J Cole been bringing the heat forever, and like
I,
it's just about that time to get this man the throne. It's about time, man.
so I'm I'm gonna have to. We're gonna go ahead and go into our review, dog. I personally want to throw it out there that I like to say that J. Cole was like shout out to all the haters when he dropped this album because he basically took everything that people were complaining about on his previous albums of saying he's too bored, he switched his flow up, saying that his production is lacking in inspiration, and then what he do came with nothing but bangers on all these songs, and people still finding a way to knock it, and I just don't understand it.
Haters gonna hate.
It and then he just saved Kevin Hart's career or his, I guess, save face for Kevin Hart on releasing this.
Oh, he got a clean image. He got a clean
Oh,
image.
this video was fire.
Phenomenal, phenomenal
Kevin
video.
Hart, Kevin's Heart, man, that song is amazing. But honestly, with this album, I really feel like it's gonna go unappreciated because it's gonna be a
Fuck
lot of
that.
people that's
No
gonna
sir.
it's gonna be like Damn, because you remember when Damn came out, there was the critics out there hating on it, or some people out there was hating on it, saying it didn't sound too much like Kendrick. And then fast forward 6 months later, they listened to the album and they was like, okay, you know what? He got the visuals going. I let the CD marinate a little while longer, and I let it connect to me. Then people starting to get a little vibe to it. And with this Kendrick, I don't understand out the gate. Track what cover to cover. I think this album is phenomenal. He blew me away just at his lyrical talent on how he can be on what people like to call is the trap beat, and he can make it so fly and flip it, but still bring that classic code that we love. And I think he did a great job with this album.
Man, Cole hit you with the taxes talk, hit you with addiction talk, caring for friends, cutting friends off, infidelity, social media love, getting money for the club head rap fans. He even talked about how the Pistons didn't have space for him. Like I died when I heard that. When I
Oh
heard
man, it's
that.
only what do you say? Only
It's only
12
12
spots.
slots on the
I was
Pistons.
like, oh dang man, you got to rethink your life. Like man, dang, let me get back in these books.
What you thought of the album though, Wilson?
I think that it is yet another solid effort from Mr. Cole. I think that he is unique in the fact that almost unapologetically he's kind of blazing his own trail and has his own lane when it comes to the rap and hip hop community. Um, I almost get the impression that J. Cole really doesn't give a fuck if people like this album or not. It just is what it is. It's from the heart. There's a lot of passion behind it. A lot of old school hip hop heads can appreciate that. We know the difference between somebody that's trying to eat and somebody that's already been fed when it comes to quality of work that gets put out. And Cole still sounds like he's got some plates to dine on. I've always had a tremendous amount of respect for the young man and the work that he does. I think that he's kind of underrated. We joked amongst ourselves at a Twitter post that we saw that someone referred to him as the Tim Duncan of rap music. I think that that's a very accurate representation for him. He's very understated. He's one of those people that if you're not paying attention, you probably wouldn't listen to him, or you probably wouldn't pay attention to him, and you would be taking a loss because you would miss out on one of the very best hip hop artists that's out in the genre right now.
Somebody, I was talking to somebody the other day about the Cole album, and we were just kind of just going back and forth, just talking about what we like about the album, what he could have improved on. Wasn't too many negatives being associated with that album, but the thing he was saying was Jay-Z reminds, if you think of that trio, Jay-Z, Kanye, and J. Cole, how they kind of just that little trio with that. Jay-Z kind of reminds you of Papa, like the daddy. You know, Kanye reminds you of like the crazy uncle. Sometimes he can say some real stuff, and sometimes he say some crazy stuff. And then Cole reminds you of like a older brother who's been through life and trying to educate you while you trying to come up. And I'm just like, man, that's a good analogy. I really like that because Cole, he does talk to you like kind of like a big brother, and he's been through it or he's seen it, and he's trying to just put you on game. And either you can rock with it or you don't have to rock with it. But I'm gonna still tell you how I feel, and that's how I like how he did with this album. And another thing that I think that needs to get a lot of illumination on this album is just the way that he took modern day, like I said earlier, how he took modern. The best way I could describe this album is somebody asked me what type of album this is it's a modern day representation of production and lyrics, but also keeping to his classical Cole style. And I think that it should be enough for everybody to really gravitate to. And truth be told, ATM, man, the fact that he dropped that dope video, and then he's the promo for the ESPN playoffs. Ooh, Cole is on fire right now.
Yeah, Mr. No Features, man. Like, people don't even realize Kill Edward is Cole. Like, people still around here confused, thinking about, oh, who's this Kill Edward guy? That's Cole. You just got to fast forward it. He just
that's the coldest shit ever. That's the coldest shit ever.
He slowed his voice down. He told you he didn't need no features, so he featured his own shit on here.
That nigga said he basically was like, the only feature I need is myself.
Myself.
That's some people might think that's corny, but I think that's super dope. That you don't really need no features.
I mean, because we all got an alter ego. Let's be real. I mean, whether you want to admit it or not, you always have a different person that's a little bit inside, and he just brought it out on the rap game. So hey, I
wonder what my alternate ego would be.
Sometimes it could be Evil Griff. It'd
be McGriff. It'd be McGriddle. McGriff.
But man,
he's acting like McGriff.
The heart of this CD, I know it's a baseball term, but the heart of this CD was so spectacular. When you went from ATM, Motivate, Kevin's Heart, then Bracket, it's like, man, the heart of that CD was the coldest I ever seen in any CD, bro.
Does this album kind of remind you of? It's like it reminds you of a movie. Like, you have the progressions. You start off and you're like, okay, the introduction of what's going on, and then as the songs keep going with Photograph and with ATM or I forgot the third song got the Photograph, but how it's like it gets better and better and better and better. I'm talking about that.
Once that Motivate came, I was like, hey, I can't do that.
Yeah, I was kind of turning up in the car. I was like, yeah, Cole. I never thought I'd see a day I'd be turning up to a Cole song. And then when he messed around and did that Windows Pane, and then he threw them that drop in when the beat came in, I said, you know what, Cole got a classic on his hands.
Then the intro to the Fall Off, I like.
Oh man, yeah, then he had to shit on a few people with that 1985.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. This album is definitely a 10 out of 10. Like, he blew me away as usual. And I'm a super go ahead, man. Like, this dude be bringing it all the time. He did not let me down.
Expected. I agree. I agree. I give it a 10 for 10 too, man. I have no critiques. I haven't. There's not one song on the album that I kind of go to that I have to fast forward through. I kind of love it track to track. I just keep letting it play. I think I'm in my like 30th rotation. I hate to sound like a super fan, but man,
I'm probably right there behind you, bro. I'm probably right there behind you. I'm not kidding at all. I'm right there behind you. But Wilson, what kind of rating would you drop on the album?
Did we lose Wilson?
Will, what's going on, Will?
Did he fall into the pit of misery?
Oh, no, not the pit of misery. Not the pit of misery. I hope Venom ain't go get him, bro.
Hey, man. That Venom must have got him, dog.
Man, what you think of that trailer, though? That was a pretty dope trailer, man. I'm glad they showed the actual visual effects of everything going on.
Well, Sony kind of slipped up because they had like a leak or whatever from CinemaCon that it kind of showed Venom, so that was kind of going around. So Sony went ahead and just dropped the
They dropped the full trailer, huh?
Yeah, and I thought the trailer was fantastic because going in from the teaser, I didn't expect anything from this. I just said it was a shoe in. I was just like, Sony really not gonna have Spider-Man in this movie. I can really care less about Venom being an anti-hero. And then all of a sudden this trailer come out and you get kind of the little backstory of how they're gonna introduce the symbiote. And then also you had Tom Hardy doing a great job doing what Tom Hardy does, and that's doing some great convincing acting. And then you see Venom at the end, and I'm just like, yo, this is kind of comes off as like a little horror movie. And I really like the vibe that he was giving. And after seeing, I heard a lot of people complain that the way Venom looks in this movie looks like how Venom looked with Topher Grace back in Spider-Man 3. And you can see the subtle changes, but one subtle change is if you look at them traps, Venom look a little hulkish, with them traps over there. So,
that boy do.
I think
that boy do look Diesel.
Yeah, he been in the gym with The Rock, dog. They've been putting in work. They about to have a spinoff Fast and the Furious. Dog, look, before we keep talking about this, dog, did you hear that DreamWorks? I know DreamWorks has a partnership with Netflix, so they drop a lot of their anime movies they kind of make into like a series of cartoons, like Boss Baby, Dragon, what's that Dragon movie or whatever. Then they got Fast and the Furious cartoon coming out, and the premise is that Dom Toretto's younger cousin and his high school friends or college friends team up with they team up with the CSI dog.
Stop.
Or the CIA dog.
They gotta stop it, bro. They gotta.
It's like, what's going on? What's going on here, dog?
You said that's animated?
It's animated, son. I'm just like, what's going on, son?
Oh, bro, I don't want to see that cartoon Vin Diesel.
Dog, we about to see cartoon Vin Diesel. 86. Oh man, and then Tyrese. Oh Jesus, I'm ready for that.
I'm cool with all that, bro. They can.
But what you feel about the trailer? You like trailer?
I like the trailer, man. Like, I don't know what Sony's gonna be able to do for me though. I'm still a little iffy about the character. I'm a big fan of Tom Hardy. I haven't seen nothing bad that Tom Hardy's made, so that's kind of a positive right there. So I'm hoping they can just bring that character to life a little bit. The Venom franchise has been a long time coming. We've been waiting a long time for this, especially since they haven't had the rights. So
True.
Hopefully they can come with it, bro. Like, I don't know. It's gonna be a lot of good superhero movies coming out before Venom comes out. So they're gonna be kind of behind their pecking order, man. They may be like the 5th or 6th movie.
And it comes out in October, so that's another thing they kind of got going for. Behind. But this is the problem that I have because it's confusing the general audience. So when a general audience sits down and watches the Venom movie, they look at this and say, "Oh, so this is a Marvel movie. So it's going to be Venom is going to be with Spider-Man and Captain America and Thanos and all them." And it's not. So then you tell the audience that and they're like, okay, so what's going on here? And then when you have like the X-Men movie coming out with Deadpool in that, and people probably going to think the same thing, like, oh, this is in the X-Men Fox universe. Oh, that's going to Marvel. So it's like, what's going on here? I know you're trying to make your money. I know you want to get all your coins, but it's just like, stop. It's going to really start confusing a lot of people. I'm not going to say y'all not going to lose any box office dollars, but it's like, why not keep it simple? I personally would love it if they introduced, because I know Sony has a partnership with Marvel, that they would introduce Venom, make him an anti-hero. You see him talking his third person, like, we need to do this for good or whatnot. And then have him transition into the Marvel Cinematic Universe where Tom Hardy doesn't have control over Venom anymore. And then he goes into his classical Venom being an enemy type of villain. That would be dope.
I mean, it could. Like I say, the sky's the limit, but I can't go into it with high expectations, especially when you talk about Black Panther coming out, Infinity War, you got Deadpool, you got Ant-Man. It's so many things they're going to have to compete with that we're going to be judging them based on. So
because if they half-ass it, people going to trash shit out the gate.
And that's the problem. If they half-ass, they're going to get criticized because everything else was so great. Then you come out with this half-ass, like, late season movie, and we like, what is this, bro? Like, what is it? You could have kept this.
I think it's all going to depend on Deadpool and Ant-Man, because we know Infinity War is probably going to be awesome from what we heard of the Twitter reaction, and then Black Panther was amazing. We already talked about that enough.
Yeah, I've been trying to stay away from all spoilers, because I dug a little bit too deep, Griff.
I saw nothing. I have seen. This is finally the first.
I dug
Dog,
it. I'm not gonna lie.
this is the first movie where I finally sat back and I said, you know what? I'm not gonna look at no spoilers. I won't be going into no trailers. I got my own thoughts on what may happen. I don't know what's gonna happen. I can't wait and go into this movie with a fresh mindset and just sit back and just let it wash all over me and like that Cole was. It's just like Christmas to me because that Cole, what he do? Monday he said I'm a have the listening party for some random stuff, and then Tuesday, oh, I'm dropping an album. I'm just like, oh. You know, Friday coming, I'm like, damn, this is all new to me. I knew nothing.
Tell me this, because Kendrick had dropped maybe maybe 3 or 4 songs before his album came out. We got nothing from Cole. Which way do you prefer? Do you prefer to hear a little bit of the album and then you can hear the whole thing, or do you just rather be surprised and just let yourself melanate up in it?
I like both, honestly, because it kind of reminds me of, and I'm glad you brought that up. It kind of reminded me of, so when Cole, they said he broke the iTunes streaming for the first day. Yeah. I think he broke a whole bunch of records of the most streamed album in the weekend or some different stuff. But I think to myself, there's a lot of people that it kind of took back, and it was like traditional Cole fans kind of were taken back, and it was like, oh, I'm not used to Cole rapping over modern beats and stuff like that. Then you had those naysayers who always want to find something wrong with the ATM video, how it was kind of, it give you an Outkast, kind of a different vibe that you're not used to with J. Cole, that people didn't know what to expect. But if he would have dropped like ATM maybe like 3 weeks ago, and then people kind of got a mindset of what the direction of this album was going, then maybe people would have been more receptive to it. Me personally, I like it either way. Give me a few singles and then the album come out. But I've been so thirsty. I mean, I don't want to use thirsty, but I've been so anxiously waiting on a Cole album, just like how we talked about last podcast with those features that he'd been dropping. So it's the anticipation was already there. So I was already gonna get that or download whatever he puts out. But to the general audience, they may have needed maybe these 2 tracks that he just dropped to breathe a little bit before the album came out. But me personally, I think it depends on the person, honestly.
I mean, I like the element of surprise a little bit more. I don't really want to hear all the music, because some of those Kendrick tracks, like, bro, I didn't heard DNA for 2 months.
Oh, and like, Humble? Oh man, I deleted that off my phone. I said, Jesus, they wore that song out.
Yeah, bro, like DNA was on Video Game. I'm like, man, I don't want to hear this no more. So it's like with J. Cole, when he dropped his album, like, oh man, everything was new. You feel me? Like I like that element of surprise, just be able to actually listen to it, not like, well, let me skip this. I feel like when you skip a song, you're not really giving the entire album a chance. I want to listen to the whole album through one time. And if I heard something 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna skip it, because like, all right, this being overplayed on the radio. So it's just the reason I'm able to jam Cole all 12 tracks on repeat is because it's still kind of new to me. I'm still letting everything seek in, versus DNA and the Humble installed in your brain for 2 to 3 months. It was the playoff thing. It was I think LeBron was used. It was everywhere. Like,
oh yeah, LeBron was hyping that. I forgot LeBron was on that.
Hyping it up, bro.
Just shout out to my boy, my boy Kendrick dropping another classic. That's that DNA in the background. It's all in my DNA. Champions.
Oh, so I like that fresh feel. I like that fresh feel.
I will say this. When the NBA playoffs, so they had like the commercial of the whatever game that's coming up, and that count it up. Come on, it makes me want to turn on the album every time.
Man, J. Cole did his thing. I can't say that enough, man. I went out and made the entire J. Cole playlist. I haven't made one yet, so I went out and got all the hits, Saint Tropez, everything I love. She's Mine. What For Y'all.
I just love this different Cole, man. I don't know what it is. It's like, as traditional Cole fans, we kind of always we love Cole. We love that he is he does his little sway or whatnot, and on his, he has the kind of the poetic production that kind of goes with it. And sometimes it can get kind of boring to some people because his voice is kind of monotone, so it kind of rock you to sleep a little bit. But me personally, I like it that he was able to transfer those rapping abilities and put it on modern day stuff that I like when I listen to like Amigos or 2 Chainz, when I listen to just their production. And he was able to capture that and still give me the J. Cole bars, like that outro. And I'm always going to talk about that and that Kevin's Heart. Yeah. Just those two, the way that production, that beat kicks in on that window pane, and then you just start listening to the lyrics. You be like, yo, and you know what's funny? That Motivate is gonna have a lot of strippers retiring, dog.
Man,
they're gonna be stripping. They're gonna be stripping, and they're gonna be listening to them words, be like, ooh, I got to do something better than this. It's gonna be watch that stripping working rate go down.
Now the strippers always gonna be.
They still gonna get that K. You're right.
It's the next class is gonna come up. All the youngsters gonna be coming up next.
I hope so, man.
Any excitement on me getting free? My man got out. He at the game right now. He chilling. Got his hair cut. They joking with Kevin Hart, who image is clean now, man. What you think about me getting free?
Every time when I heard that he was out, I think of that meme of him running around the corner. When I heard,
my man got picked up in the jet, bro. Like they real deal like scooped him up from prison, like in the jet, and put him outside at the game.
I didn't even know he was best friends with the Sixers owner like that. Yeah, that's what really shocked me.
Yeah, they got pictures and everything. I didn't know they was that close either. For you to like fly out there, like use your like. I know we be tripping about gas money, but I don't think jet gas money is cheap, my brother.
Nah, it ain't. That's some fuel, man. That's some millions. That's some thousands.
Oh, you need some gas.
But like we said earlier, it's holiday season. Sixers. I mean, from my Eagles to Villanova to Kevin Hart and his redemption that he just did with this Cole with Will Smith dropping inspiration videos every now and then. The city of Philly is hot right now.
I'm waiting I need Freeway to drop a freestyle or something. Just
Freeway come out there. What's that? Oh man, he had this one song back in the day. Oh my God! Oh, it's gonna come back later on. I'm bringing it up, but I can't think.
That flip live. A whole lot of kind.
It was the one song that he had that dun 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 dun. Yeah, rock the mic right. Yeah, that was my song. Hey, that song came on. It was time to jig a little bit.
Yeah, he's going. But yeah, I mean the city of Philly winning. I'm just glad that a city that was like pretty much trash as far as basketball and success from the Eagles and Villanova. They was already doing their thing, or they won a championship a couple years ago. I'm just glad everything's able to come together for the city of brotherly love. You know, so
hey, don't forget about this, dog.
I can't be mad at him, dude.
Don't forget about this, dog. If LeBron James comes in the off season, Philly will have the year. They gonna be live.
They really gonna be live.
They really gonna be live.
That LeBron and Meek album gonna come out.
Dog, when I see LeBron in the Philly jersey, I'm be like, God, I'm gonna have to be friends with this dude now.
Oh, my man then ran back in like the ramp at WrestleMania. What's going down, man? What's happening?
Of course, I had to come in when some bullshit was going down on the microphone.
Hey, so we're done with the Eagles talk. I mean, the Philly talk. Let's keep going. Marcus, get on.
We're not done with the Philly talk. We're not done with the Philly talk by long.
They on cloud 9, man. Look, we
up there with Goku, dog. They up there on Nimbus Cloud with Goku, dog.
Cloud 9, all they want to. It's all well and good. The sports gods have spoken. You got 2 rings already. They're not gonna gift you 3 in 1 year. It's not gonna happen. It's been a great run. It's all been good. If you'd have let Meek Mill's ass stay in until the playoffs was over, you probably would have had a shot. But no, you played your trap card all up on the Yu-Gi-Oh board, all early and shit, not knowing
they used the special too early.
Yes, they popped out the trap card, and they should have left Meek Mill's ass in their graveyard. They wasted a turn.
I revive you, Meek Mill.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, we'll see. Like I say, that's just the free Meek effect. We'll see what's gonna happen, really.
I mean, no doubt. I mean, it's good to see that the man got out because, in my opinion, he was in on some bullshit anyway. But yeah, they doing their thing. Philly is hot right now. Blah blah blah. Whatever, what have you. Sixers still ain't winning shit. Not this season. And if they don't fuck it off by trying to go for LeBron or somebody else, they'll make it in the next couple of years. Of that, I have no doubt. They keep this team like it is for the most part. They'll make the finals within the next 3 years.
And to keep it all the way 100, even if they don't make it to the finals or they somehow lose maybe the next round or the Eastern Conference Finals, Philly had a great, just that organization had a great year. Just 51 wins they got?
52.
Yeah, 52 wins. That's pretty good.
Well, I'm glad that the process finally showed its face. We've been hearing about this process for like 10 years. Shit.
It was in there longer than
yes, it has been a good year for Philly.
Hey man,
Man,
Picture them Eagles, boy. Them Eagles had a long process
No,
too.
no. I was talking about the Sixers. Nobody cares about your
Oh
Eagles right now.
damn! Oh, shots fired! Damn, I felt that from way over here.
I'm sorry. It's the draft that's coming up this week, guys. My bad.
Yeah,
My bad.
shots
I'm
fired from
completely out of
Humble.
season.
Shots fired
Yeah.
from Humble all the way over here in Acres Home. I felt that.
we may
I'm
have to
completely out of context with that. I'm so sorry.
we may have to get some more shirts made. May have to get some free Julio Jones shirts because my man not looking too happy up in Atlanta.
Oh, he feeling locked up, dog. I don't
Hey,
know.
What
You don't get the
he
red zone.
unhappy about? He getting his catches. He got a good quarterback. It's all about Julio. I mean, what's the problem?
He trying to complain so he can get some them red zone touches.
he not getting those touchdowns. He probably tired of this shit.
He's like, God damn, I'm looking like Andre Johnson on this goddamn
I'm
stat
gonna
sheet.
need you to use that 4.3 speed to get you some 40+ yarders. I mean, do like Antonio do. Antonio don't get red zone targets that much, but he still score.
If you were the GM, would you take in Julio Jones or would you rather have that team control over a rookie for 5 years?
Rookie.
First round pick.
Whoa. You saying will we rather take Julio Jones or a draft pick?
Or take the draft pick? First round.
Where's the pick? Where in the first round?
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, who knows where it could
Like
come
we
from.
talking about a top 10 pick? We talking about a top 5 pick? We talking about a top 20 pick?
Let's say mid tier. Let's say about 13 to 23, somewhere in that range.
See, this draft is odd because the funny thing about it is there's the best wide receiver prospects in this draft
Could go
can be
to 20.
had at about that range.
Yeah.
So it's not that far of a stretch. But then you have to say, okay, is there a Julio Jones in this draft? And I don't think that there is.
No, sir.
Now
when you talk about height,
you got some good talents. Yeah, you got some good talents and stuff like that. And we get caught up in looking at Julio's measurables, but Julio can actually play a pretty good wide receiver, period. He has a great skill set to go with all those measurables. And I just don't see anybody that compares. Now, as far as if you want to take a chance, if you're not in win now mode, if you got time and patience to kind of, mold somebody, be patient with a wide receiver and stuff like that. Yeah, because on the flip side, Julio Jones has been banged up these last few years. He's missed some time. He's had some issues with, foot and ankle injuries and stuff like that. So, I mean, it just kind of depends on what you want. I mean, we exist in a day and age where it's such a quarterback-driven league that you don't need top-flight wide receivers to win. I mean, it helps, but you don't need it. It's not an absolute must. Ask Tom Brady.
If you playing fantasy football, you might want to grab Julio because them complaining boys get fed.
Man, we've been saying that for 2 years.
You know what? I did say that last year. He had a whole 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean,
never mind.
We can say that, but I mean,
it works for the other wide receivers not named Julio.
I mean, I still think he's super talented. I think he's worth it. If you want to be honest, if you feel like you just one elite playmaker away from making it to the Super Bowl and possibly winning it all, I'd risk a first round pick on him.
So what team do you think is one piece away that can use him?
A team with an aging quarterback, and you want to talk about Keenan Allen on one side, Phil Jones on the other side, Hunter Henry in the middle, Melvin Gordon.
I like the way you talking.
LA need to win over some fans. We seen the Rams.
Pistol P out there slanging that rock. I don't know. I like that.
I'm just saying.
Phillip.
Why not? Give Phillip like a true receiving core again, like he had.
But he also does have that wide receiver that he drafted last year, Mike Williams. So I don't know.
Why not? Give him all the weapons he can have. You can never have too many receivers.
That is true, and they need to make a splash because right now LA is all focused on the Rams right now.
It's all Rams, bro. So that's what I'm saying. If you want to make a splash, hey, I'll be calling like, hey, we need to try to win over this city. So hey,
don't let LeBron James or Kawhi Leonard or I know Kawhi not going there or Paul George make it over there to the Lakers. Man, Chargers by default get no love
at all.
Man, send Julio to Cincinnati and let him play next to AJ Green and take that aging red-headed quarterback to the next level.
Oh man, he need that, dog. I don't know what's going on. This dude.
Man, Dalton ain't
like honestly, with all the sum of the parts and stuff like that, if you had a Julio Jones in Cincinnati's offense, that's a 10-win team next year.
Oh
yeah, he's gonna be able to sling that rock. He's gonna be able to sling that rock.
In that division,
you got Mixon and Bernard in the backfield. You got Green. You got Julio, you
John
got
Ross.
Eifert if he comes back not, you got Ross to throw in the slot, which actually would take a lot of pressure off
Off
that
him,
young
yes.
kid to come in early. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, but there's a number of places that you can go to fit that
Ooh,
scenario. Baltimore can
ooh.
easily fit that scenario.
Oh, yeah.
What about with the Redskins? They in the need for a number one.
Who?
Alex Smith not gonna throw
But
it
you-
to him. He needs
Yeah, bro.
Alex was slanging that rock last year.
until like week 9.
Yeah, because Andy Reid started having relapses and doing the
And
most.
let's remember that at least 145 of his completions completed last season was that damn tight end pitch pass.
Oh, that shovel.
Counts.
They gonna
A
bring that
shovel
shovel.
pass still counts as a pass on the record book.
Bro, they gonna bring it back with Julio, man. Julio gonna take the shovel pass to the house.
Julio
Dang, Julio got 7 touchdowns off the shovel pass.
Killing it, dude. You'll be killing
This
it.
is what Matt Ryan should have been doing.
Shovel pass.
This is
And
what Matt Ryan should have been doing all these years.
And I know I'm not really buying into it, but what do y'all think about this Baker Mayfield possibly going number 1? I'm not
Next
buying.
question.
I'm not buying.
I'm not buying that either.
Next question.
But they
Next
said,
question. We will not disrespect the culture or our fans by insulting their intelligence with that question.
All right.
Next question.
Next question.
ain't no more questions.
Fake news. Fake news has been reported.
Can't believe you even shaped your mouth to even bring that up.
I'm just
I
saying,
can't
man.
believe
Like,
you even thought about that.
bro, it's been like 10 reports on like if the Browns do some shit
People
like
always
this,
gonna fish and try to mix up some stories. First of all, let's clear some things up. Number one, you go through if it was the old Browns front office, okay,
Sasha
maybe.
Brown would have been all over.
You're talking about a triumvirate of GMs and personnel staff and evaluators that have come from the Green Bay Packers. Tell me the last time the Green Bay Packers picked the quarterback with a number 1 pick.
Man, shit. What, Bart Starr? Shit.
He was a 15th, 16th round pick.
Whew.
It's never happened. They never evaluate like that. They never do it. Brett Favre wasn't a first round pick. Aaron Rodgers was at the bottom of the first round. They'd have never picked him at number 1. San Francisco messed that off. They just don't do that. It's not that kind of mindset. They don't scout that way. They don't look at it that way. Unless you have somebody that's a John Elway, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees type once in a lifetime talent, they're not even gonna think about going that route, especially not with somebody like a Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is a great value hybrid of Drew Brees and Russell Wilson. And that's not saying that he's a bad talent, but the red flags are going to be very, very significant for him to overcome. His height is already going to be one drawback to him, but then they say, oh, he's got moxie, he's got escapability. Yeah, he's got somewhat of an escapability factor, but he's not Russell Wilson. He ain't 4.5 fast. He's 4.8 fast. Von Miller runs a 4.5. Half the linebackers coming off the edge in the league run a 4.5. That dude is going to come out there and try to wing it and try to make some plays happen. He's going to get his head knocked off. Now, anybody that wants to sacrifice their career, their resume as a general manager or evaluator of talent by taking him in the top 5 and putting your job on the line, be my guest. But John Dorsey and them boys, they not stupid. They'll let them run wild with that story, but they're not going to go that route.
Oh, that's cool, man. We'll see what's all gonna go down. We're gonna have the draft.
Browns could be doing some. Browns could be doing some switcheroo, just throwing out false news out there to get everybody all scared and hyped up, and boom, boom, they get who they want. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean,
the Browns are literally in a position to where if they unless they just decide to just do something stupid, it's almost impossible for you to mess up having the first 2 out of 4 picks in this draft. You almost put yourself in a position where you can't pick wrong, especially for all the things that Cleveland needs.
Watch they take Orlando Brown with the 4th pick. I'm just gonna sit there. Oh, bullshit.
The level of disrespect in this round. I have no words right now. I have no words for the level of disrespect going on right now.
I got faith. They're gonna bounce back for sure. They're gonna bounce back for sure. You know, one report I did also see on the NBA tip, they saying that Boogie may not get the max. They saying they may offer him about a 2 or 3 year deal. But with the way that the Pelicans handle business in the playoffs, would it be best for them to just let them walk and save that cap space and maybe sign Mirotic to a long-term deal and try to bring some more stretch forwards and keep Anthony Davis up in the spot?
You can do both.
So you saying they should just go ahead and pay him the money and go ahead and keep him?
I mean, you can go ahead and do what you want to do. Now, the one thing that doesn't work in Boogie's favor is the fact that off of the eyeball test, it seems that they've actually played a little bit better since he's been hurt. That doesn't help him out as far as his case of getting the Supermax and getting the most money. But I mean, right now the Pelicans are pretty much playing with house money right now. They're exceeding expectations. They have a lot of promise. They've gotten a lot of bang for their buck for the people that are currently on their roster. And looking at the combination, and this is the one thing that I've always kind of wondered why people didn't pay more attention to. Ideally, it's a lot easier to go about building a team if you got a good prospect at the 5 and at the 1.
That's true.
And with the combination of Holiday and Davis, if I'm an NBA free agent at the 2, 3, or 4, that team looks pretty damn attractive to me.
If I'm Tobias Harris, I'm trying to get it over there. Come on, Hollywood Cole. Yeah, come over there.
Right now, somewhere like that little meme that you see, like Wolverine looking at the picture, somewhere Tyreke Evans is sitting in his bed looking at the picture of when he used to be a Pelican and just wondering,
what did I do wrong?
What could have been?
But they can get him now. He's gonna be restricted this summer, so they can get him, or maybe Will Barton will be nice coming off the bench for them, or he can be slid into the 3. Nah, he can't slide into the 3 road. But they
Will might be a little too expensive.
That's true. He gonna want some of them dollars because he had a phenomenal season.
He turned down a 4-year, $39 million deal already.
Oh yeah, he bet on himself, especially at the beginning of the season when he turned that down, and he did a damn good job, especially in the clutch down the stretch when everybody started falling to the wayside and injuries emerged.
But is he worth 10 plus a year?
But I think
I mean when you got Chandler getting damn near 20.
Well, people want to learn from that mistake, not copy it. That's why I say, is Will Barton really worth 10 plus a year? Is he worth 12, 13?
I'll give him.
He is for the right team. For the right team, he is.
I give him 13. I wouldn't give him 15. I think 15 is pushing it, but 12 and a half, pushing it. 12 and a half, 13. I'm fine with that. 12 and a half for 3 years.
Because I think Will Barton is only getting better with time. Because if you look at his career, and then you can see the leaps and bounds of when he's given the minutes and he's given the trust. His stats are actually pretty good. So I think that he could do pretty well in a great system where they allow him to, I guess, kind of flourish more. But I think 2 of the hottest teams that people probably want to go to are going to be the Sixers and going to be the Pelicans, because Pelicans don't really need. They can get like a shoe-in center like how the Celtics do it. Get like maybe a Nurkic is going to be a free agent. Maybe they want Blazers don't get him re-sign Nurkic, and they grab Nurkic and grab some bench pieces, some veterans to throw on their squad. They good to go.
Do you think the bigger story would be Boogie not wanting that contract though? Like, I mean, it's not a max.
I mean, it's still not a guarantee that he wants to sign it. It's still not a guarantee that he may not want to just, kind of test the field out and stuff like that. I mean, one of the bigger storylines that happened during the season, even while they were being successful with one another, was, well, is it enough to make Boogie stay? Is it enough to make Boogie stay? Is it enough to make Boogie stay? I mean, that option still presents itself that he may just say, you know what, I want to be somewhere else and I want to do my own thing, kind of forge my own path.
Hey, Boogie and I was thinking about this earlier. What teams that I wouldn't mind seeing Boogie go to? Him going to the Celtics would be nice, but him also going to the Phoenix Suns would be nice with him and Booker. That'd be a nice little and Jackson. So that'd be a nice little trio of pieces that can really.
I don't think him and Brad Stevens would get along in Boston, to be honest.
See, and I thought about that too. But I think that a good coach is probably gonna keep him in line. I feel like that's the type of coach that Brad Stevens is, because he kind of centers your ego and takes your ego out of the equation, and then it's kind of you have to settle for whatever you get on the roster, and you have to be well with that. But like you said, I mean, he does have an attitude.
The one thing that's going to be for sure with Brad Stevens, you're going to have to commit to being a team player before you sign anything with him.
Yeah, and to me, it's not anything about anything that he may necessarily do or anything like that. But, Brad is one of those guys where he's kind of the voice of his team, and Boogie is very outspoken.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where they may rub or butt heads. I don't think it'll be a thing of, like, I've never thought of Boogie Cousins as being, quote unquote, uncoachable. I just think that sometimes the way that he's vocal and the way that he kind of demonstrates or emotes about certain things rubs coaches the wrong way. And it presents that kind of a red flag, not a thing of, oh, well, he's not going to listen to him, he's not going to play hard or anything like that. I just think that sometimes his personality just kind of rubs people the wrong way.
Well, go ahead and take your ass to the Knicks. Go take your ass to the Knicks.
Frustration too. When you go from like
Porzingis ain't having that. It's only one unicorn allowed on that team.
When you go from like a dominant college basketball team to like the Kings were the worst of the worst years when they got Boogie. Like he literally was the only thing they had. They was trying to put talent around him. It just wouldn't work out. They brought in Rudy Gay. They brought in Rondo. They had Isaiah Thomas for a short amount of time. Still couldn't get nothing going. I don't think they ever top 35 wins when Boogie was in the Kings uniform.
But for them, I think coaching had a lot to do with that too. As hell, they didn't have nobody really kind of steering the course. Yeah, they didn't have anybody really like steering the course. So Boogie was there, left his own devices, and pretty much did what he wanted to.
George Karl, that was terrible.
Vlade Divac just starting to get everything together. Oh, George Karl is terrible. He's a terrible.
Vlade needs to put them Newports down and concentrate.
Vlade out there gonna sign Ricky Rubio. Keep fucking around.
Man, Vlade out there on that back of day habit. He better get focused.
I gotta ask you guys. Are you guys more surprised about Donovan Mitchell and his dominance being one of the few guards to have as many points as Jordan in his playoff debut, or the meltdown that we see in Russell Westbrook go?
You must be talking to Marcus, because I know you're not talking to me.
Well, you know Marcus was a huge fan of Donovan.
Come on, bro. I was talking about Donovan Mitchell at the beginning of the season.
But
okay,
like, it's one thing to talk about him, but like dropping 32, like bro,
okay, let's keep it 100.
The fun part about that though is that to me the bigger surprise is the fact that a resurgence of Ricky Rubio helps facilitate the output that you see from a Donovan Mitchell.
Can I tell you
what he's actually doing?
Can I tell? Okay, this is what the point I wanted to bring up. That was the fact that I wanted to bring up when we did our picks on of who we gonna pick out of the Jazz and the Thunder, and we always said the Jazz is gonna be a hassle for them. But if you look at the Jazz and you look at the Pelicans, Rubio was also, he was good at assisting the ball, but he didn't have a consistent jump shot, and he didn't play off the ball well. Same with Rondo, didn't have a consistent jump shot, didn't play off the ball well. Them learning to adapt to play off the ball has really helped it out for both of their two guards, and Mitchell and Holiday, and it's kind of opened their whole offense up. And then Marcus talked about this earlier. A thing that goes slept on with the Jazz is Rudy Gobert's presence in the paints. Donovan Mitchell was having some okay, decent numbers, but just not being. When you're allowed to roam free because you don't really have to be game planned against to a certain extent. They sit up there and try to take Mitchell out the game, but then you can't leave Ingles open. You got to respect him. Then you got to respect Gobert. You got to respect Rubio's playmaking. So it's kind of pick your poison.
And then if they can stop Mitchell on the break, is a fucking.
Oh yeah, he's gone. Yeah, he cashing out of there.
Spider-Man.
You go through and you look at the fact that Donovan is in a good part, and it's not a thing of everything around contributes to Donovan, because it's kind of a two-way street. Donovan helps everything go off too. You look at the fact that they've been 29-6 since the All-Star break, which is second to only the Rockets as far as best second half season record. You got a defensive player of the year, or should be defensive player of the year, behind you in Gobert. You have a playmaking point guard that nobody really appreciated for his offensive skill set because it really hasn't been there. But he, just like Rondo, is shooting above 44% from the three-point line, which is something that nobody expected, especially folks in Minnesota that watched his ass leave. That helps you out tremendously as a young talent. You basically put Quinn Snyder in a win-win situation. If you have somebody like a Ricky Rubio who is under the radar that people are now having to respect, and you have to look at him not only on the perimeter but as well as for his playmaking abilities, it's like giving your young rookie a green light with absolutely no pressure. Donovan Mitchell has no pressure to do anything because he has no expectations from anybody. We were the only people talking about Donovan Mitchell at the beginning of the season. Nobody was talking about this kid.
And going into the playoffs, nobody was talking about the Jazz. They thought that it was going to be OKC's matchup, and we was like, oh well, Jazz going to win that.
We were stupid for doing that from the jump, because we've always been in the mindset from the time the season first started. We were harping on Utah. I'm like, I don't know why people don't take the time to actually look at this team, and more importantly, it's coaching their philosophy. Like that second half of the season for them, when everything clicked and they finally bought into Quinn Snyder's system on defense, like. they are a huge problem matchup-wise when it comes to defense because they have a lot of length, they have a lot of energy, and they force you to take shots that you don't want to take because they do not give you any easy ones.
Exactly.
And for people like in that Oklahoma City thing, it's so easy to see these guys get triggered and see these guys get frustrated because they're taking away the stuff that comes natural to them. And now they have to go to plan B or plan C, and they don't have one. So you get the results that you're getting right now. They are vastly underrated, in my opinion.
And that's why Westbrook is collapsing for the simple fact is Westbrook can't get to the lane and do them little half-ass dish-offs that he likes to do because Gobert and Favors are sitting down there. So it's like, oh, what are you doing? That's why Westbrook and Melo taking these little stupid jumpers that's not falling. And they're going to be a problem for the Rockets. But, you know, we ain't going to talk about that now. But I'd love to give all the praises to the Jazz and Quinn Snyder. He was the coach. Or I think me and Marcus, me and you picked him being coach of the year, right? Didn't we decide that? Yeah. Did you, DeMarcus?
That was my vote.
Yeah, we all did.
Yeah,
I was about to say I thought it was unanimous.
Even though he lost that last game of the season, I think Quinn Snyder kind of.
But even for the fact, if Rudy Gobert came back 2 weeks earlier, they would have been a third place team. That's pretty much all it is. Like you can't.
But even more important to that, you look at the fact that the simple buying into the philosophy and putting it on. Being able to rally your team around as a coach. We're talking about a team that at the All-Star break was 9 games under 500.
10th place.
9 games under 500. And they went 29-6 the rest of the way. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. Without any major roster changes or anything like that. It was just a change in philosophy. They really, really got committed to that concept of team defense, not letting Rudy Gobert just hold it down in the middle like Mutombo and then 4 other dudes around him. Everybody bought in on the defensive concept. Everybody was active on both ends of the floor. Donovan Mitchell getting more confidence in his shot, becoming more explosive, developing this wicked-ass spin move going through the lane. Jeez, oh, my God. That's like almost cheating.
He's supposed to be hurt.
He's supposed to have a foot injury, and he pulling off these spin moves and stuff through the lane. I mean, it's been awesome to kind of watch and see how this Jazz team has grown. It's like a tale of 2 teams going from first half of the season to second half of the season, and they're legit, man. They're going to be an interesting matchup. In the next round, they're going to be an interesting battle of little wits between the 2 coaches because Mike D is going to be the most important part, in my opinion, to that second round series than anybody else on the court. He's going to have to outcoach Quinn Snyder for them to win that series.
And then also, I do want to highlight this, that the Jazz are not the greatest in defending the 3, but when you don't have those consistent 3-point shooters that can make those shots, that kind of helps them out a little bit. Mm-hmm. And that helped out a whole bunch because, man, Melo, Paul George gets his. If you look, Paul George, you know, he finds his shot. It's the people that are inconsistent in shooting in Melo, Brewer, and Westbrook that have the problem. So it's going to be really interesting, like you said, with that whole squad. But I do also want to highlight, you know, the Rockets did sweep them during the season. And there was only 1 game we didn't play them without Gobert.
We only played them 3 times. But
we played them 4 times. We played them 4 times, son.
How many of those times was before, and how many times was after the All-Star?
We played them the beginning of the season, around December before Gobert got hurt, and then we played them in January after Gobert was down, and we played them at the latter part of the season. And all those wins were double-digit wins.
There's 3 though, huh?
No, 4 times. We played them 4 times. One of the games we didn't play Gobert. That's only one of the games that Gobert didn't play. And I'm trying to say, I remember watching those games because I enjoyed the Jazz because Jazz always plays good. But it's like that quick tempo nature that the Rockets play with and get into the hole, and the way that they get to the hole, they cause a lot of foul troubles for Gobert and Favors or whatnot. And that's the only thing that gets the Jazz in trouble with the Rockets. So it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to be able to call this game if we end up playing them. So it's going to be really interesting.
What about Toronto, man? What's going on with your boys?
They are in Whoville, dog. I'm just like, the way they collapsed on Sunday was embarrassing. I don't understand how you just let John Wall and Beal and all them just get going like that in the third.
Because they're the Raptors. That's the only answer that you need to any of the questions that you're about to ask because they're the answers.
I gotta be serious. I don't think there's not. You can't trust no team in the East right now except maybe the Sixers and maybe.
Bro, you see why I said the Miami Heat would have
talked about this though before the playoffs started. We talked about this. I sat here and we all said it's a legit shot that all the top 3 seeds in the East could fall, depending on how the situation turned out. There was literally no trustworthy team in the Eastern Conference playoffs as of right now. And no, they're all suspect right now.
They're all suspect.
1-4, everybody.
Except the Sixers. The Sixers been doing a pretty damn good job. Joel Embiid.
The Sixers have been walking it like they talking, and Embiid coming back with a chip on his shoulder has worked wonders for them. And then also those veteran pickups. I never gonna sleep on them vet pickups, man. Ilyasova and Bellinelli are just, I don't know what's going on. They just hit the fountain. They've been coming up money.
What? Huh?
They've been coming up money.
Yeah, man. It kind of makes me look at Atlanta like, dang, Atlanta, what are y'all? I can't believe y'all let them just go like that.
Man, I don't know.
Atlanta said we're working on our own process. Mind y'all's business right now.
Hey, Dwight Howard had money and just clocked.
It messed up everything
fully, bro.
They hung that under construction sign like in the front window, like on your profile pic, under construction, and just let it go.
And they've been staying there because I mean they let Horford go, and look what Horford's doing. They let my boy Millsap go, and they should have made the playoffs if he never got hurt. And then you look at Ilyasova and
Jeff T.
Bellinelli.
Atlanta is like the farm team for the rest of the league right now. They're just developing prospects for the rest of the league to capitalize.
Exactly. Schroeder, you gonna come to any of these other squads?
What would you
like if I'm a lottery prospect right now in the league? I'm hoping and praying that the ATL does not show up on my radar.
Man, what would you do if you were the GM of the Blazers? You got swept by the Pelicans. You were a dominant third place team for a long amount of time, and your 2 biggest stars didn't show up. And Nurkic was also
They ran out of gas, and you kind of saw that going into the playoffs. They kind of backpedaled into the playoffs because if you look at the last 2 weeks, they kind of lost a lot of games, and that's just something that people take for granted. You know, I know playoff experience does matter, but also how are you playing going to the playoffs matters. And I personally wouldn't blow up the team, but I would look at some of them contracts as that I need to do a little better because Evan Turner is really not doing nothing.
Luke
I can't really. Can we paint this narrative for the people out there or some people out there? Sometimes you just run into a team that's better than you, and it just nothing that you can do about it.
I just want it more. Hey, they wanted it more.
And if you looked at the Pelicans play, it just like the Blazers were giving them punches, and then it was just like the Pelicans were just coming back with combos, and you just like, God dang.
Game 1 when Drew smacked his shit off the glass, I said, yeah, they not here to play with these boys.
Yeah, they not here to play with these
guys. The Blazers came out throwing punches, and the Pelicans came out throwing haymakers. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just pretty much what it is. And as for what I would do if I was a GM, the only person for my money that's relatively safe or untouchable is Nurkic. Everybody else is expendable at this point.
Damn, both the backcourt guys?
Yeah, I agree. And you know
what's
funny?
If I'm going to properly rebuild, I have to put good enough bait out to get proper pieces to rebuild with. Those are the 2 best pieces that I got to offer.
Can we look at this too also? And I thought about this the other day. Playmakers, having playmakers or multiple playmakers on your team benefits your squad. And look what Raptors are struggling with that. Then you look at the not the Pelicans, but you look at the Blazers are struggling with that.
Struggling. I mean, the Raptors. We need Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry.
Look at the Wizards.
Up and then he kind of disappeared again.
But they don't have multiple playmakers. You need multiple. That's just showing. Like, look at the Rockets and look at the Warriors.
The Spurs. They only have 1 playmaker on their entire team, and it shows because when that person isn't on the court, the offense goes to shit. Mm-hmm. You have to have multiple playmakers. You have to have people that can function in transition. You have to have people that are capable of getting off their own shot at any point in time. If you don't in today's NBA, you're stuck.
And I want to be honest, and all due respect to LeBron James, he's in the same predicament as James Harden was last year, where he's the center focus of that team. And when he's not getting it going,
32 assists, and the next person got 8.
I mean, man, it's just like, yo, I need some help out here, and that's how James Harden was last year. It's like I can't do all that. It gets tiring, and LeBron James is going to start feeling the ways of that because it's like 82 games, and it's like, yeah, I have to be on the floor at all times, and if I get off the floor, man, the lead's going to get blown out and stuff like that. That gets stressful to a person. So a person, that's why he needed like a Kyrie to alleviate stress or consistent Love. I don't know what Kevin Love is doing out there, but I mean, it's just going to show you that playmakers are what the league will start going into.
Ideal, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving these playoffs. I'm really enjoying it.
No, it's super competitive shit. We got the Bucks and Celtics coming down to the wire right now. The Sixers and Heat, they tied at halftime.
Eric Bledsoe knows who Terry Rozier is now.
They mixed it up, huh?
Yeah, they almost just got into a fight not too long ago.
Oh, can I also say this? That Jazz and Thunder game, I wish it was earlier because that was prime time basketball, man. That was so entertainment. The chipping, the going at each other, Westbrook being frustrated, getting to a Crowder getting to a Melo, Gobert talking trash to Westbrook. I mean, it was poetic last night. I couldn't wait. I didn't want the game to end, honestly.
Well, the reason they had to do it so late is so Magic Johnson can fly in and have a good little meeting with Paul George.
Stop it.
Oh, we already know. Come on, Paul. Oh, and then shout out to Ingles. Shout out to Ingles finally getting on the national spotlight so people can see what this dude does. He defends well, huh?
So he should have been on the spotlight. He was legit last year.
He defends well. He hits the consistent three, and then he also talks a whole bunch of trash in Australian, and we saw it. What you call it?
It's Australian.
He was. Hey, you saw him talking crazy to Shaq.
I'm so mad at you.
He was talking that. Hey, mate, you watch it. I punch you like a kangaroo. I can't even do Australian.
This fool said he was talking trash in Australian.
How did you like that down under? Put you on the Barbie.
I hate you, American. I promise I hate you, colonizer. I hate you, colonizer.
Oh, how you like that shake up? We call that the Wolverine.
I am so down.
Oh, no disrespect to Ingles, man. That dude right there is holding it down.
Views and opinions expressed by McGriff the Crime Dog, not express the view.
That's his alter ego. That's killed
broadcast. Exactly.
That is funny.
This motherfucker said he talked trash in Australia.
Hey, man, he was talking in Australian, dog. Hey, you like that, mate?
Let my man.
Oh my God.
Let my man make it though. Man,
let's all light a candle and pray for Griff.
Oh, and I also want to give out some love Favors, man. Favors is pretty good. I think he's a very underrated power forward. He's
it just took him a while to
go. Because he plays in Siberia. He plays in Utah.
He's a young.
Nobody pays attention to Utah. He's been good damn near the entire time he's been in the league.
You see why they let go of Millsap now? Because he's kind of like a young, more spry Millsap. Honestly, they can hit a better three than him.
So can I go ahead and bring this pen out and say that the Jazz officially won that Darren Williams trade? Is that official now?
Oh, they did.
Yeah, I don't think there was too much doubt about that.
Especially when Faye was playing like this, man. They got so much for Darren Williams when you go back and think about it, like, dude.
Hey, but you remember Darren Williams was lighting it up in the league for
pretty much got value.
Was it Darren or was it the system though, man?
System. It was system.
But everybody went on perception and the eyeball test and stuff like that. So at the time, they pretty much got what was value for what everybody thought Deron Williams was. So, I mean, hey.
And now he's gone.
And that's a wrap. That's a wrap.
And
yeah, like shouts out to wherever he is doing whatever he does because it's not basketball at this point. All right, shout out. Okay.
Oh, cool. and shout out to the Rockets for avoiding getting Melo. Jesus, man, that's avoiding a headache. Melo can't hit.
He'll be there next year.
Oh yeah, he's gonna get that $28 million.
Shit, nah,
he'll be right there in that Houston uniform next year.
Gonna sign for us by $4 million. Just chill on the bench. You know
who? He gonna sign with who? He gonna sign with who? Melo would be Melo would be the biggest fool in the NBA to give up that $28 million that he can get from the Jazz from the OKC next year.
Same money. Would you rather have Joe Johnson or Carmelo Anthony on the team right now?
I don't want neither one of them bums. I don't want neither one of them bums. I get so stressed.
He had pre-ordered a Joe Johnson jersey.
Neither was not an option. Neither was not an option.
Neither was not the choice.
Can I get a hell no for 600?
Nah.
I don't want neither, dog, because I'm stressed when I see Joe Johnson in the game, and I'm stressed to see Melo shooting jumpers.
Man, I'm stressed to see Joe Johnson.
Because he's
same thing.
If you talking about Karl-Anthony Towns looking for James Harden air balls, we need to be all looking for Melo's air balls. I'm talking about this dude here.
He is thinking.
He's not even hitting the net. That's how bad it is.
He's thinking up out there. Man, what else going down sports wise? Like I said, I know it's been a slow week outside the playoffs and the draft, but man, was there anything else y'all was able to catch? Maybe on ESPN, maybe seen some highlights or something. Baseball, anything? Nothing?
Well, the best playoffs in sports is living up to its billing, and we're getting ready for yet another epic matchup between Alexander Ovechkin and the Capitals against Sidney Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins
like
here next round. For all of the people that don't watch hockey, this is the hockey equivalent of Phillip Rivers and the Chargers versus Tom Brady and the Patriots in the early 2000s. It's that kind of a matchup.
Slanging that G thing.
It's that kind of a matchup, but it's basically the battle of two of the top 5 players in the league going head to head with one another. Going to be very exciting. It's going to be really good. Pittsburgh has gotten the best of them in just about all of the matches.
Because Ovechkin never been to the finals, right?
No.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10 on the best runs that he's had, he's ended up losing.
He's lost to Sydney. And Sydney goes on to win.
yeah. It's like, hey, man, great series. I'm about to go get this ring. I'll holler back at you.
Yeah, appreciate it. It was nice.
That kind of thing. For those that pay attention to the early stuff, I'm not a big early season baseball guy, but since the storylines are out there, it's been fun to see some of these early season returns for some of these prospects.
Had the first no-hitter too.
Got our first no from the kid from Oakland, going out there and shutting down what was one of the hottest teams in baseball at the time, in the Red Sox, pitching that no-hitter. Shouts out to the Astros starting lineup, who have come out with their asses on fire, like literally gunning down everything moving.
After a rough 7-game stretch, but yeah, they just
that's the thing about baseball. It's mathematically impossible for you to stay lit like for 162 games. You're gonna go through and have little downturns. It's highs and your lows and stuff like that. But I mean,
seeing Josh Reddick go yard, it's like, okay, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the Astros are still the Astros. People that push the panic button in April are funny to me when it comes to baseball. I'm like, really? You getting upset about something in April?
That's why when people cussing out Dallas Keuchel when the offense put up 2 runs.
Yeah, like people was texting me and sending me messages, yo, man, what's up? They booing your boy Stanton in New York. I said, well, when you strike out a lot like that, you gonna get booed in New York. I said, but it's April. They'll love his dirty draws in June.
Man,
trust me. It's just the way that it works. I mean, it's all good, man. But early season baseball hasn't disappointed. There's been some good things going on. I see the Yankees just pulled up some of their young kids, Andahar and Torres. It'll be interesting to see how much time they get and how well they do. Other than that, as far as like a sports avenue, I mean, there's been so much hype behind the draft, so of course that's on everybody's mind.
It's like the main course right there, and that's in a couple of days. Is this your first draft you're going to, or this will
be the first time that I've ever gone to an NFL draft. So this is like
bucket list everything, because I know you said you went to Hall of Fame.
Yeah, this is bucket list for me. The only other thing that I could do from a sports standpoint to me that would like cross off my bucket list, and I'm hoping to get to do it here soon. Honestly, I want to go to the Basketball Hall of Fame presentation when Tim Duncan goes in.
Nice.
Oh, that's gonna be nice.
I should say when Tim Duncan and KG and Kobe Bryant all going together. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's gonna be one of the best classes ever. So yeah, definitely would like to get out and go
the College Football Hall of Fame out there in Atlanta.
Oh hell yes!
Out there, yeah.
Hell yes!
That was dope too.
Hell yes!
Hey, can we? I forgot also. Can we show like 2 seconds of love for the Rockets in that 50-point explosion that they did last night? The Rockets have been playing some terrible team basketball, but one thing I will always say about the Rockets is they get open shots. They are just not falling, and that third quarter let you see that if the Rockets, they can get open, James Harden is just that crafty of a dude that you have to plan against him and Chris Paul. That those players are gonna get open, but if those players get open, if you hit them shots, they're gonna be a huge problem. And another thing that I like about the Rockets that I haven't been, since we really ain't been really hyping the Rockets up as much, is their defense. Their defense has showed. I know Timberwolves are the joke of the butt of everybody's joke, and you know how Towns has been playing or whatnot. But that still is a pretty damn good, talented team, and I have to give the Rockets some type of credit for playing some.
I don't think it's no better test you can have as an 8 seed, especially with a team net stack when you look at the whole starting 5.
They talk about the 8 seed. You know what? And that's why I always go as at my reference of when the Spurs played Dallas in 2014, like Marcus said, and they challenged them to 7 games because they sleep on they look at the AC and it's like, oh, well, you're in the AC, but they don't look at the talent of the squad. And then on top of that, they have a talented squad, and they were a 3rd seed. That's not to be slept on. They were a 3rd seed until Butler went down. And I like to say that the Rockets have shown you, if you've watched any of the games, they have struggled on offense, but something that I love to illuminate is that James Harden says in his post-game interviews or in the at the practice field or whatever, he says that when our offense is not falling, we have to rely on our defense, and they all been showing that each player has stepped up on defense, including James Harden. He hasn't had the greatest offensive explosion, but he did have in that 3rd quarter, but he has been pretty damn impressive on defense, especially in the post, and I like to give the Rockets a little shout out for that.
No, you can give them a little shout out, man. You know, I've been trying to stay a little bit back for them because I expected them to at least make to the Western Finals. I really don't want to see anything else other than them being in the Western Finals. Winning the first 2 rounds should be a guarantee. If you lose, you're underachieving. We've got everything out of the Rockets that we wanted as fans. We got the great regular season. We're going to get the MVP award. Now we need them to handle business in the playoffs. And that's just what I want to see. You know, I record the games. I watch it twice just to see what's going on. The 3rd quarter, what I noticed is I seen you griping about D'Antoni and his adjustments. That's because he don't make adjustments, Griff. You're 100% correct. That's why it's no reason to challenge you on that, because this team is self-coached. So everybody on the court, they got to hold themselves accountable. What you seen in the 3rd quarter was a group of veteran players holding themselves accountable and saying, all right, we came too far to let this shit go like this. So we got to go out here. We got to put the gas on them. We got to end this right now. That's what you're seeing, but that's expected. That's the Rockets team we've seen all year. They hit the switch. Now the one thing they got to do is keep those lights on. It's one thing to hit that switch, but shit, when you got to go to the bathroom and you walking out, you cut it off. Maybe Rockets leave the light on like Motel 6.
Exactly.
That's all I'm
never
saying.
Cut that thing off.
I just want to see these boys continue to do that, and I want to see this matchup with the Warriors like everybody in the basketball universe want to see. If they get upset, hey, ain't nothing I can do about that, because I told you I had the bad dream about Donovan Mitchell, but I don't want it to come true. But we'll see from there. We'll go.
Oh yeah, we're gonna see. We're gonna see. And I'm with you. I'm trying to stay a little humble in my
just trying to stay a little humble, you know.
Just trying to stay a little humble, you know. I'm enjoying the playoffs, and I won't be talking down talk about LeBron. I'm not gonna lie, LeBron. Hey, LeBron really been holding it down, man. That team, they don't have no bums on that team, but they just look confused at times.
They
and
have
I feel like
they can actually elevate their level of play. It's
exactly
like the max you can get out of them is gonna be what, a 15-point explosion, maybe 20 if they hit a couple more shots. But you don't got nobody that can get out there and get you 8 assists. Give me 25 points. Give me 17 rebounds on that glass. They got nobody like that right now.
LeBron gonna have to do what James Harden did, and even though James Harden came up short, he gonna have to get his 40 points and gonna have to have them 15 assists. He's gonna have to have those rebounds or whatnot for his team to win, and that's what James Harden does. And it gets tiring, and you see it's weighing. I mean, it may not be weighing on LeBron, man. We don't know. I don't even know with LeBron James. He might have mentally checked out and was like, "Hey, I ain't gonna make it to the finals, so go ahead and get rid of me now." Who knows with LeBron? I don't know, but that dude right there, he been really holding it down. You really showing in the playoffs, and then it also showing that the Pacers are a good team, and Oladipo need to wake up.
And Wilson, what did you think of Messina winning his first playoff game?
Oh, I mean, if anybody knows basketball and they know Messina, I mean, it's to be expected, man. I mean, talking about a guy that won a EuroLeague championship with Manu Ginobili back in the day. I mean, he's not a stranger to success at the basketball coaching level. I mean, he was somewhat of a basketball legend internationally before he came over to the Spurs organization. It's a difference, and it's funny. Don't want it to be construed as shade or anything like that. It's just being honest. There's a significant difference between fans' expectations of teams that have won as opposed to fans of teams that still have expectations of finally winning. Uh, the one thing that I can say about that win is that it's a microcosm of what it is to be a part of the Spurs family, to be a part of the Spurs organization. There's going to be a lot of heart. There's going to be a lot of pride involved at the end of the day. The Spurs are clearly not the better team in this series. The Spurs clearly do not have that much to play for in this series, but the Spurs were not going to roll over and let themselves get broomed out in the first round, because that ain't happened since 1993. It's one of those things that you develop with when people talk about the culture that a New England Patriots has, or a San Antonio Spurs has, as far as that culture of winning that you constantly try to keep and promote and stuff like that. Those are the types of things that are involved. Other teams that don't have that cultural expectation would have mailed it in and wouldn't have cared. One of the interesting things that I saw before that game is that they showed the walkway leading to the Spurs locker room, and they already had their bags packed for game 5 sitting in the hallway before the game started. It's a different type of feeling. It's a different type of expectation. I love to give Griff a hard time and a lot of our other Rockets fans and stuff like that, and I like to poke and prod them. But in all honesty, I get it, because it's simply being at two different places. I'm a fan of a team that I've seen win multiple championships recently. It's been a long time since people have had a chance to enjoy the Rockets being this successful or them winning championships at all. There's a whole generation of grown-ups since, I mean, there's a whole generation of adults that have never seen the Rockets win anything. So with that, your mentality is going to be different. You're going to be hungry. You're going to be ready to fight for that respect, and you're going to acknowledge me, and you're going to see that we good, and you're not going to be doubting us or hating on us. I get that. I used to be that guy. Before 99, I dropped down and have fist fights with folks over my team. It's the way that it is. But it's that passion that you have as a fan. But you have to understand, too, that with winning and consistency, your mindset changes.
Yes.
I went from living and dying and, oh, my God, it's the end of the world if we don't make it to the championship to win, to, well, I've seen them win it 5 times, so I can genuinely say, well, we'll get them next year.
Yeah, we had
and believe it, because I've seen it.
We had Landry.
It's a little bit different. It's not the same perspective. You know what I'm saying?
Swift,
Landry
and Swift,
Aaron
and
so don't get me wrong. While I give Rockets fans a hard time about it, I understand it. But the reason I give you a hard time is that you have to change your level of expectation and your perspective so people can buy into what it is that you're saying. If you sound like random thirsty fan that's just hoping and praying that they can finally capitalize on something, well, you're not going to get as much respect as the fans of teams that have seen their team make it to the mountaintop and that are consistently successful. That's why I kind of reserve judgment, because there's things that I could say about that game. That game was really interesting to me because I don't want to be that guy that's like the stick in the mud and stuff like that, because the one thing that really jumped out to me in all honesty about that game is 2 things. Number one, you guys followed up a 50-point third quarter by giving up 40 in the fourth, right?
Got outscored by 12 in the fourth quarter.
The thing that gets me as somebody that's on the outside looking in, because I'm not a Rockets fan, but I understand where the Rockets are trying to get to. You can't have that kind of mentality, and you can't really have those kinds of games
they check in
the next round, because you can't afford to have those kind of lapses. You can't afford to make them kind of mistakes. You can't afford to give people those kind of opportunities, because all of the things that Tom Thibodeau's dumb non-adjustment making ass does in this round, Quinn Snyder is not going to do if they play Utah in the second round. And that's where the difference comes, and that's why I said that it's going to be, to me, the biggest matchup in that second round, if they play Utah, is going to be between D'Antoni and Snyder, because D'Antoni is going to have to outcoach him.
Can I say this about the Rockets? And this is and I love what you were saying about how you've tasted success many times, so your palette has changed. And with us is we haven't seen the success. And yeah, people want to sit up there and say, oh yeah, you made the Western Conference Finals in 2015, but no one thought that we were going to make it. We thought we were going to lose to the Clippers. So everything was a surprise from there. And on top of that, Rockets still had flaws. And that's why I like this team the most and why I've been the highest on this team, because the flaws of taking pressure off of James Harden, adding defensive pieces around that team that needed, closing out the fourth quarter. See, I don't mind them giving up the lead. That's what I like about the Rockets this year, is they like to close out games, even though they may have given up the lead or they may have had to fight their way back, but they knows how to close out a game, and that's way different than any Rockets team prior, because I remember that we were the king of blowing the fourth quarter. That was what the Rockets were known for.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that I like for them, and what I like for them going into the playoffs and going against whoever they're going to play is, if the Rockets can miss shots and still hold it down on defense and close the fourth quarter, finish the game, that's what I liked about it. That's why I kind of wasn't too much worried about it when we kind of just let Karl-Anthony Towns and what's his name, oh God, whoever else on the team just
Jimmy
jack
Butler.
up shots and make them. Yeah, they're in the fourth quarter, but it's just like, it just seems that the mind state of the Rockets player is way different than prior, from James Harden all the way down. Not saying James Harden is a leader by any stretch of the imagination, but just listening to their conversations and them talking about the things that normally the Rockets don't talk about. They always would talk, even last year, it was talking about, okay, yeah, we're going to have to score more points than that, and da-da-da. That was the narrative. Now it's like, okay, we got to worry about defense, and it's like they're committing to defense. And yeah, I know the Timberwolves have been playing the greatest, but the Rockets defense has been very stifling, and it's been very impressive. And it's
the reason that they haven't been playing the greatest is not that they just came out and shot bad. The Rockets are making them shoot bad. Let's not buy into that narrative of, oh, well, Minnesota isn't playing the best. Well, I mean, it's not just because the air conditioning is throwing their fucking game off. It's because the Rockets are playing hard against them. I mean, I don't like it when people try to use that whole thing as like an excuse. It's not a valid excuse to me, because it's like, okay, what other direct reason other than their opponent is the reason that they're not playing well? It's not logical to me.
I love it. And the crap that Karl-Anthony Towns was getting, yeah, he wasn't playing the greatest, but man, Capella and PJ Tucker and Harden was putting bodies on him.
I mean, a combination of that and his dumbass coach.
His coach, yeah.
They don't make adjustments. They didn't do anything to like push the issue and do high screen rolls to go through and play high low post. They don't do any adjustments. So I mean, once you find out that it works, it's like, well, shit.
Rose, like he's still in Chicago. Like, bro, why is Derrick Rose still out here?
Exactly.
Hey, Derrick Rose is looking pretty good.
Yeah, he's hooping, but he's playing a lot of minutes. Yeah, I know.
He's playing a lot.
Jeff Teague in foul trouble majority of the time. But
one last thing that I'll say as it pertains to the Rockets, as y'all know, I love giving y'all a hard time and stuff like that, but it's also been well documented that I've said throughout this season that, in my firm opinion, I think the only people that can really beat the Rockets are themselves.
You're right. You have been saying that on a consistent basis.
With that being said, here's the only analogy that I will offer. I looked at that game and I saw them pop out the 50 and then give up the 40, and this is I root for a team that's won championships, so I love to nitpick and I expect the excellence in this, that, and the other. That bothers me because last year when I saw my team play your team in the last game that we played against each other, we didn't take off and let y'all score 40 in the fourth. It's a difference between what championship.
They had 31, Wilson, in the fourth quarter last night.
Yeah, It was way too high for what you did in the third quarter. Either way it goes, it was way too high. There's no reason that it should have been that close of a game at the end if you popped out a 50-point third quarter.
They had got within like 15.
1 point lead.
He's up by 35.
Yeah. I mean, you go through and you have those lows and stuff like that. I understand it. But the thing about it is, if you truly want to have that drive, that hunger for more, that dedication to being the absolute best, you want to climb the mountaintop, you have to do the things that champions do. Champions do not come off the gas for any reason whatsoever. We were hurt. We were broke down. We didn't have our best player. We didn't have our best two players for the most part last year. And they still didn't take that foot off the gas. They still showed y'all no remorse, no mercy. They played like champions when they beat y'all and eliminated y'all in the playoffs. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing the Rockets become.
The killer mentality.
And that's why I gave them that preview when we first talked about this first round. That's why the first thing that I brought up was the Mavericks and Spurs in 2014. You're talking about a team that went on to win the NBA Finals by the largest margin in the history of basketball.
Shot them out
But
the
they
gym.
had to go. They had to go 7 hard up, bite your fingernails. Whoever had the ball last was gonna win it games against the Mavericks, who were an 8th seed, and I mean they were every bit the 8th seed. Mavericks weren't good that year. They were just good against San Antonio.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
They played them hard all year too.
It's those kind of situations where you go through and you just have matchups that are just kind of interesting. It doesn't mean that the team is necessarily good. They just may be good against the team that they're matched up against.
True.
You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things. And that's why anybody that's foolish enough to think that the Rockets were somehow going to get miraculously upset against Minnesota's coach, first and foremost, or Minnesota's players, secondly, because while they have talent, they don't have that kind of collective talent to be able to pull off that kind of an upset. So that's a foregone conclusion. Haters and trollers can go through and look at that and say whatever they want to. That's neither here nor there. Now, the competition elevates itself. The stakes get a little bit higher. The talent gets a little bit stronger when it comes to whoever it is that they play in the second round. But it's not more of a challenge in my mind, round by round, for Harden and Paul and Capella and Tucker. To me, the part that makes me the most nervous about the Rockets as they move through the playoffs is that Mike D'Antoni is actually going to have to do his job more. And that's true. To me, honestly, that's the biggest weakness on the Rockets team. If you have to depend on Mike D'Antoni night in and night out to outcoach his opponent, that's a problem.
Can I ask you a question? And then I don't know, Wilson, if you've been watching all the Rockets game. The only question I got to ask
I've watched all of them so far. I've watched all of them so far in the first
Do you think, and this is what I thought, because I was talking to my grandma, out of all people, my grandma, and she had brought it when I was talking to my man, D'Antoni was making no adjustments. And she was just like, you remember like watching the Rockets during the season and how they really, just taking off on boys. D'Antoni was still making adjustments. He would go from the ISO, like early in the season, he would go to the ISO, then he'll run into the quick tempo offense of like Chris Paul would just dump it off to Anderson with like 19 seconds left on the clock, and he just launching threes and stuff like that. And she was saying, do you think that he's not showing all of his cards, his Rolodex or whatever, until he sees the team that he's the most, or that whole squad have been the most hungriest to go see, which is the Warriors? Is that the reason why he doesn't feel like he needs to go to? That's why if you ever see him on the interviews, he's kind of so nonchalant about everything. Oh, well, we're going to hit our shots. And I just think in my mind, and she brought that up, and I was like, oh, you might have a point that he might not feel that they need to go into bring out the wing raw of what you call it on Yu-Gi-Oh, or come out with your white eyes black dragon, whatever the thing was called. Bring out your ace in the hole.
I would love to say yes, that's the case, but
I hope so.
I think that would be giving D'Antoni a little too much
credit.
Because the only reason that I say that is this. If we go back and we look at the entirety of Mike D'Antoni's coaching career, he's not doing anything different than he did anywhere else at any other time. This is the same exact MO that he followed in Phoenix, not making adjustments. The thing that's so funny about Mike D'Antoni and the places that he's been, the stuff that he's done, the success that he's had and stuff like that, it all looks the same. It all looks familiar. And one of the things about it is he gets away with having the audacity to be called a good coach when basically he doesn't really coach. Like, if you really, really pay attention to what the Rockets do, the Rockets really don't call any set plays or have any set system. They run a lot of screen, ISO rolls, stuff like that, and they get open, try to find the best shot available, and they just chuck it up and hope the mathematics applies. And I mean, if you make a third of 100 threes, then you still make a 99 points. So at the end of the day, it still is what it is. And I get that. And I mean, if you have the talent for it, if you constructed your team to do that kind of thing, then you ride or die with it. And that's not a problem. But when you go through and you have to literally get into a bona fide, certified matchup for matchup, pound for pound dogfight with a truly worthy opponent, can he actually coach in tight situations? Can he coach his way out of anything other than a 10-point lead or a 12-point deficit? You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
There's coaches that we know that are good, that are great situational coaches that can function for that 3-4 minute stretch when they got to go from down 7 to up 4 to kind of swing the momentum of a game. They know how to call plays for their teams both ways to be able to facilitate that and have that happen. In all of the instances that I've ever seen the Rockets do that, it's been the players bringing it upon themselves to just kind of make last minute alterations on the fly and have it swing that way. It's not been a Mike D'Antoni timeout. We're gonna sit down, get on this clipboard, and then they come out and bam, all of a sudden they focus again. It's never really worked like that. So I don't really buy into it from a standpoint of him being the reason. I mean, when you have a fabulous mix of youth, enthusiasm, talent, and veteran leadership like you have on the Rockets, I mean, you have a really, really strong blend of young guys, energetic guys, hustle guys, grit guys, snipers, playmakers, facilitators. Like, it's a really, really good blend. The chemistry on that team is extraordinarily strong. That's one of the biggest reasons, in my opinion, that they won as many games as they did, because they're comfortable with each other. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot to be said for chemistry when it comes to team sports. They're very, very comfortable with each other, and it shows, because one of those byproducts of that is they're so used to each other and so comfortable with each other that they don't panic.
That's true.
And they're down 10. 2 years ago, you down 10, you down 12. The Rockets mailed that shit in. It's over. Don't worry about it. They're not coming back. They don't panic. They're like, you know what? It's cool. All right, yeah, they got a couple of stops on us, but they can't stop us all game. So let's keep going. Let's keep pounding. Let's keep doing what we're doing. Eventually, it's going to swing our way. We're going to do what we got to do. Boom. Water's wet. Sky's blue. Rockets win again. That's a major difference in this Rocket team as to the teams that I've seen in the last 3 or 4 years from Houston. That's a veteran personality trait. Yep. That's a championship personality trait. You have to be able to stay even. You never get too high or get too low, regardless of what situation that you're in. When you're up 25, you shouldn't be too high and be like, oh, this game is over. You should be like, no, let's go ahead and crush their soul so they won't even come out and try to play us again the next game.
That's true.
Remove all doubt. Vanquish everybody. Take no prisoners. That's why the one thing that like, for my money, we'd have scored that 50-point quarter. If I'm Mike D'Antoni, I'm telling you motherfuckers, if y'all don't score at least 40 in the fourth, we not even gonna leave the building. We're gonna just start running laps right here. I mean, since I seen y'all score 50 in the quarter, I want to score 100 in the half. Man. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's remove out. Do you know how intimidating that is to somebody on the outside looking in? Wait a minute. The Rockets did what? 100 and a half?
Man,
shut the fuck up. Are you serious? Like, it kind of sells itself. Like, a lot of the big deal that one of the biggest things that I like about the Warriors and their mythology for people to pay attention, they are, beyond a shadow of a doubt, the best first and third quarter team that I have ever seen in recent memory. Like, that's literally the slaughter moments. If you can survive the first and survive the third against the Warriors, you got a shot to win. Because that's when they beat you. They come out the gate smashing you, and then when you get that Gatorade at halftime, you come out, they try to smash you again.
They always start out strong.
That's killer instinct. That's locked in. That's focused. That's smash the gas, rip your heart out, take your soul mentality. The Rockets are getting there, but they haven't gotten there yet. I'm looking forward to seeing what that Rockets team will do when they get there, but I'm just still waiting for them to get there. That's why I haven't been too hard on them or had too much to say, because they're still a work in progress.
Yeah, it's not much to say until they play the Warriors. That's when you're going to know everything about this team.
Man, the Warriors better wake up and worry about them Pelicans, though.
Man,
we're going to talk about that.
You know the funny part about that? Do not be surprised if that's a short series.
As in sweep?
No, I'm not going to say sweep because I know that there's too much pride on that New Orleans team. But I'm personally looking at the way that the Warriors are kind of setting themselves up. I would be surprised if it lasts longer than 5 games.
It's going to be very interesting. And the reason why I say that is because the Pelicans showed they kind of ace in the hole when they played them that last game. And Drew Holiday was kind of the primary person that was on the switches that they did and putting Etuan Moore on Kevin Durant, roughing him up, and also putting where Kevin Durant, if he got into the paint, that he would run into Davis, and then putting Holiday on Clay all game kind of really frustrated Clay. And when you frustrate Clay, that's when the Warriors kind of start shaking. And that's, man, it's
But
going to
now
be
the
very
counter
interesting.
to that though, is the thing that we just discussed about D'Antoni, which we don't think applies, but actually applies to Steve Kerr. Now, Steve Kerr is the king of changing matchups and tailoring lineups to their opponent and stuff like that. He will have stuff in place ready to take advantage of New Orleans. He's going to push New Orleans to get outside of their comfort zone, which is something that Portland could not do to save their lives. They don't have the same amount of depth like Golden State does. They don't have the same amount of significant role players and those glue guys that can come in and fill in those spots when those superstars aren't out there on the court like Golden State can. One of the things that I think that's going to be hard for the Pelicans moving forward is the fact that when Rondo is out, when Holiday is out, when Davis is out, who's going to be able to keep up that tempo and keep up that flow? Because the Warriors are literally going to play a numbers game with them, and they're going to come at them at waves. And that's why I think that it's going to be really difficult for them to beat them, because the one thing that Steve Kerr has actually done, to his credit, him and the front office, is that their bench is almost like the great value version of the starters. Like they have similar skill sets to the people that they're coming in to relieve. And that makes it very hard on a team when there's no drop off as far as what the teams actually do on the court. You know what I'm saying? What they actually do on the court, regardless of whether it's first string, second string. It just seems like, damn, these motherfuckers never.
Oh man, I smell a candy.
You know
It's gonna be a candy. It's gonna be a candy bag coming.
Hey, I'm not mad at it. I mean, this is the round. The second round is the round in which you find out who the contenders are and who
the pretenders are. Facts on facts.
And the second round, in my opinion, the second round, especially in the Western Conference, is where experience matters just a little bit more than it did in the first round. First round is kind of wild. You know, upsets can happen, stuff like that. People can get surprised. That second round is kind of where that experience, that playoff experience, kind of bubbles to the top. And it's like, all right, these lights is a little bit brighter than in that first round, homies. A little bit more spotlight. So who's going to wilt to, who's going to grow, who's going to shine, who's going to duck off into the shadows. But I think that it's going to be entertaining. I think that we are going to see a superhuman effort by Anthony Davis. I think that he's going to come in there because he's haunted from seasons past of getting blown out by the Warriors in the playoffs. So
exactly,
he's got a point to prove too. But we also know that, you know, everything, the difference between the Warriors and the Pelicans, in my opinion, is that nobody can afford to be off for the Pelicans. They have to be on point. They have to be on in order to be successful. The Warriors don't have to have that same. They don't have to have that same luxury. They can have a player or two be off, and they can still come out and put them waves of players out there and still beat you. With the Pelicans, because they don't have that depth, and Mirotic doesn't get enough props from everybody not named Marcus. But yeah, we talked about him as an X factor before the playoffs started. We told people he was going to have a major role.
I'm gonna throw it out there, man. I watched the Warriors against the Spurs, man, and it's Clay. Clay is the engine, man, and if you slow that engine down, man, they wilts are bad.
You also know what the game plan is. Clay get the early shots, so they constantly.
Yes, exactly. And you throw him off.
Remember though, this is their game plan for the Spurs. Steve Kerr is going to change their game plan every round depending on the opponent. That's one of the things that makes them so difficult, not only as a team, but as a coaching staff. They don't just put out the same cookie cutter system and, oh, if you can beat it, then we'll have to make adjustments. No, he adjusts before you think he needs to adjust. He's already thinking about the lineup changes that he's going to make. Like key case in point. He wanted to go out and set the tempo and made his statement early. So he's done things like start Andre Iguodala, start JaVale McGee, because he knew it played up to advantages that would go against the weaknesses that the Spurs currently possess. He's going to change that stuff again. JaVale McGee might not start a single game in that New Orleans series.
I just don't,
because he's going to be a liability against Anthony Davis. It's just a matchup thing. It's the coaching aspect of it that I give them an edge on.
With the Pelicans, and that's the only thing I like to before I step off on this one. But with the Pelicans, the only thing I saw with the Blazers and what they did and with Gentry coming out is that his players are not worried about minutes restriction and trying to be healthy. And when you have that type of mindset, and if they have that type of mindset going into the Oracle Arena, and if they play with that veracity that they did when they went against the Blazers, and you have Anthony Davis out there for 40 minutes, and Holiday out there for 41 minutes, and Rondo out there for 38 minutes, and then Mirotic out there for 31 minutes, and they're not really tired, and they're fine with it, it's going to be really interesting because that team really defends way better than a lot of people give them credit. And Mirotic, like we always said, the thing that I didn't see that Mirotic did, his defense was phenomenal in that Blazers series.
People take it for granted, like, okay,
if him and each one, if they can body and put them bodies on KD, it's gonna be a very interesting series. It's probably gonna be one of the most entertaining series of this year.
I think it's gonna be wildly entertaining, and just like you said, when it came to the minutes restrictions or lack thereof and stuff like that, the only difference between the Blazers series and this series is you're gonna have to do a lot more defending on the other end against the Warriors than you had to do against Portland, because there's a lot more shooters and a lot more offensive threats on the court all the time. So fatigue will play a factor in that regard, because 44 minutes against Portland's offense is much different than 44 minutes against Golden State's.
That's true.
True.
That's true, man. Anything
but either way it goes, we're going to be entertained and we're going to see some good-ass basketball, so I'm not tripping.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all. Is anything y'all catching on the tube lately?
Watch Into the Badlands and Westworld. That's it. And then else to report.
I mean, most of the usual. Catch Star, Catch Empire, both still hitting home runs. Black Lightning just had their season finale last week, and it was phenomenal as well. Nothing really new as far as anything on Netflix and Hulu that I've really checked out at this point. I've actually kind of been on a retro kick, so nothing really going on. There'll be more shows that are going to actually drop out next week and in the following days after next weekend, because you're coming up on the end of the month. So of course Hulu and Netflix and stuff like that are going to reload as far as new series is coming out and stuff like that. But right now I think all of the movie folks are like, well, you know, outside of Avengers, they're like, well, shit, there's too many playoffs and too much sports going on. We're just going to chill and wait until May. We're just going to wait until May.
I know Netflix. I think Chris Rock got a movie coming out on the 27th. So
him and Adam Sandler.
Yeah, that should be pretty good. Of course, we got the Avengers. Next week, we are going to be having the draft special. We're going to be breaking down who we thought had the best draft and maybe the best selection from our favorite teams. We'll break it down like that. We're going to have the Avengers breakdown, and we may throw in the regular show. We're going to see how everything going to fall. So,
well, we're going to have to throw a regular show, man, because we're going to have this awesome-ass basketball that's going to be going down the rest of the week. So
expect possibly 2 to 3 shows for the coach next week.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be 3 because don't forget about Infinity Wars. Gotta get its own little segment.
We're gonna have our own on Infinity War. We're gonna have our own on the NFL draft thing, and we're gonna have to have one on
the regular podcast. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we're gonna. I mean, off Eastern Conference alone, with all these damn 2-2 series, you know we're gonna have shit to talk about for basketball.
Yeah.
Because I'm really interested in seeing who's gonna like step forward and put up or shut up in those matchups.
No doubt, man. No doubt. So yeah, we got a lot of entertainment coming for you guys next week. As always, y'all can catch us on melanated and illuminated.com/fish and grits, iTunes, SoundCloud, For the Culture Fish and Grits page on Facebook. Like, listen, share it. Get us out there.
Y'all know y'all love this shit.
Get us out.
Y'all know y'all love this shit. Stop fronting. God damn. Stop being selfish.
Share with your friends.
We will take you to Culture Court. We do not play. We already
somebody is eligible right now. Shout out to my man Joshua. Hey, you gotta know when to hold them and know when to fold them, man. That's what the old white man on the
Boy, Josh be trolling. Josh know he know how to troll.
We will take you to court. We don't play that shit. But man, Wilson, you have a safe trip to Dallas, my man. We're gonna be in touch.
Most definitely, man. Most definitely. Hey, I might jump on that Facebook Live on the Fish and Grits page, man, just to let y'all see.
Me and Griff made Facebook Live while we don't want to get the page shut down, so we ain't gonna.
Oh yeah, we gonna be in that theater. I'm gonna show y'all the first 5 minutes of this.
Don't do that.
They gonna cut the page. They gonna cut.
Man,
I'm like, Marcus, they didn't kill Captain America in the first 10 minutes. Lord,
Fed's gonna be at your door. You're gonna have Marvel Studios sending them goons to your house. Yeah, don't do that, fellas. Don't do that.
We ain't gonna do all that. We ain't gonna watch. We ain't got time to call. Like, hey, Wilson, we need you to come back to Houston.
Man,
yeah, we need you to bail us out, dog.
I'm not gonna have no bail money. I'm sorry. I'm so
dang.
sorry. I'll see y'all on Monday.
Mama!
I'll see y'all on Monday. You know what I'm saying? Scoot, scoot.
It's cool. It's cool. Hey, the skirt. I get the skirt when I
J.
want.
Cole was in. I get the
I get
skirt
the
when I want. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But man, as for now, this has been Fish and Grits, and you guys have just been served.
Y'all enjoy.
Peace.